friends, welcome back to the vlog channel. We are doing my hair because my hair is pretty faded. Don't mind the creases from me sleeping on it. I was trying to decide if I wanted to redo the blue or if I wanted to go in with a new color. One of my considerations was that my hair is fairly damaged, so I knew I didn't want to bleach it, but I thought it would be a nice natural progression to go into green from this color. So that's what I think we're gonna do. So yeah, I've had this color for a couple of months now, and it did fade a decent amount. A lot of it faded when I was on vacation in the Bahamas. I kind of dipped the bottom of my hair in the pool when I was there, so I definitely want to redo it. And then I also asked on my Instagram story for you guys to give me assumptions about me, and then I will answer them and tell you if you're right or wrong while I'm doing my hair. So that's the plan, but let me show you the hair dyes that I have. So I looked through my storage of hair dyes, and I have two green hair dyes. So I have this splat hair dye. This is in Midnight Jade, and then I have one punky color in Alpine Green, and this one is actually, I used a little bit of this but not too much, so it's still almost full, but it's not completely full. Stuff smells so good, by the way. It smells like candy. So yeah, that's the plan. I want to actually go to the gym first, because one issue that I've been having recently with my hair, and one of the reasons why I think it's actually in not so great health, is because I have been washing my hair in warm water just because it's been so cold lately, and I've also been kind of bad about going to the gym. So I figure I'll go to the gym first. I might be a little bit sweaty when I come back, and then we do the actual hair dyeing process. But I'm not planning on going too crazy anyway. I just want to do a little bit of cardio, get the heart pumping for the day. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm literally just going to cover the green. This wasn't really something that I put too much thought into. I kind of just woke up and was like, I think I might dye my hair green today. I do want to eventually do something different. I feel like I've had kind of the split dye situation for a little while now, and I'm kind of bored of it already. I'm ready for the next thing, but I want to wait until my hair is healthier. So I'm gonna not bleach it for a little while, and then we'll move on to whatever my next color journey is going to be. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna go to the gym, and then we will catch up and we will do a little hair dyeing fun. Okie dokie, we're here, we're ready. I have this stuff. In case anybody's curious, the splat one smells better, but they both smell good. I'm gonna use the splat one on the bottom half of my hair and the punky color on the top half of my hair, because I notice my hair keeps punky color in for longer, and I'd rather the top be in for longer. So much of my hair has faded. I don't know if you can see the back. Look at how faded the back of my hair is. That's crazy. And I gotta say, I always feel a little awkward because from the bathrooms in our apartment, you can't usually hear what's going on in the regular rooms, but from the bathrooms, you can hear other people. So if somebody were in the bathroom right now in the apartment next to mine, they would definitely be able to hear me. Cool. Looking good? I'm ready to go. I'm gonna pour this in. Oh, it's not as appealing looking as I thought it would be. Gosh, this stuff smells so good. Ew. Do you hear these sounds? My phone's gonna be a total mess after this too. We've got some assumptions about me that I asked you guys on my Instagram story, and now we are going to see what people have assumed about me. Assumption number one, you wish your apartment was quieter and closer to New York City. So I'd say that's half true. I do wish my apartment was a little quieter. I don't think the building itself is loud, but the traffic noise and the construction noise is unreal. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I wish that that was quiet, but it is not, and it makes it super annoying for filming. Can you see it? No, it still looks blue. Oh my gosh, imagine we do all this and my hair still looks blue. As far as New York City, I like New York City. I like visiting New York City, but I don't need to be any closer than I am right now. I used to live closer to the city, a couple minutes away closer, and it was fun. It was fun before 2020 because I was like going to things in New York, but I have only really been to New York once since 2020 happened, and I'm pretty fine. I don't know, I'm not as attached to New York as some people might think that I am. Okay, this is looking green. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can we survive this whole thing without me getting hair dye on my phone? Probably not, but we're gonna try. Next assumption, you prefer using Instagram rather than YouTube. That is not true at all. I actually really don't like Instagram. I kind of only post there a couple of times a month, but I use my Instagram stories all the time. I'm constantly on my Instagram stories. I do like it for that. I want to post more, but I think my problem is like I take it too seriously and I need to just be comfortable posting whatever I feel like. This is weird. Look at my gloves. They're blue. Did I get the blue hair dye or the green hair dye? No, this is green. Okay. This assumption says, deep down, you might want to have a baby someday. That is so incredibly false. I have always known my entire life that I didn't want to have kids. I know not everybody is as set in stone as I am. A lot of people don't really know what they want. I have always known. I remember when I was younger, I used to dread being like a mother, and I thought that it was something that I had to do. And I remember it was just something I was always like, I want my teens to last forever because I never want to get to the point where I'm a mother, because I thought that I had to do it, and I just absolutely dreaded it. And as soon as I realized that it was an option for me to not have kids, I made it very clear to everybody in my life that that was my path. I think that the thing that really interests me, I don't have a problem with anybody having kids. I feel like I always have to remind people of that. Just because I don't want kids doesn't mean that I hate kids or that I disrespect people who want to have kids. I think that some people's path in life is to be a parent, and that's awesome. It's awesome to know what you want in life, whether it's to have kids or to not have kids. But the interesting thing is, I feel like a lot of people question why people don't have kids or why people don't want to have kids. And I think it's so much easier to not have a kid. So like, I feel like it's almost backwards a little bit. We're making the easier choice. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I don't think I'm describing it very well, but yeah, no. Point is, I have always known that I didn't want kids, and I didn't really know that it was an option for me until I was in my 20s, because I kind of just thought that everybody had to have kids. And I think there are still a lot of people in the world and society who are going to continue pressuring me to have children. So I'm really looking forward to being too old to have children. The only problem is that age keeps on getting older as technology gets better. So I might never be too old to have kids, but I will personally just never have kids. You know, I think just like there are people in life who are meant to be parents, there are people in life who are not meant to be parents, and I am one of those people who is not meant to be a parent. It's all good though. I do love kids though. You over apologize. I'm sorry to say that I do. I really do. I apologize way too much. And it's something I'm working on. I'm trying to be better about it. I've always seen people say, like, instead of saying sorry, try to say thank you. Instead of like, oh, sorry it took me so long to get back to you, you say, thank you for being patient with me. So I've been trying to do that. I gotta tell you, it's actually really made a difference in my life. You know, I don't really feel as much of like a fear that everybody's mad at me when I set boundaries. So I think that's pretty cool. I think this is gonna turn into a really beautiful teal color. That is my prediction. If you guys have a prediction and you haven't seen the end of this video where presumably you'll see what hair color I have, let me know if you think this is gonna end up being green, blue, or somewhere in between. Okay, next assumption. You don't like cats. That is false. I do like cats. I think cats are very cute. Ryan's allergic to cats though. I've lived with cats before. I've had roommates who have had cats, and I think they're super fun. And I know that there's opportunities for, you know, Ryan to take allergy medication, but I don't know that it really makes sense for us to have a cat. You've been dyeing your hair for more than 10 years. So I have had dyed hair for more than 10 years. Started getting my hair dyed and dyeing it when I was 14, and I'm 30 now. But I haven't always been doing it myself. I have gone to salons to get it done a lot of the time. It was only the last couple of years that I started really doing it myself, and I would still like to go back to a salon and get like my next interesting thing, like not the half and half, but like something new. I'd like to get that at a salon just because my hair is kind of damaged now, and I want to make sure that, you know, if I lighten it, it's going to be done properly. So yes and no. Kind of true, kind of not true. When I lived in Georgia, my hair wasn't dyed for like a few years. I was going through a non-emo phase, but that phase is over. I'm back to being emo. Next assumption, you like MCR. I'm assuming this is My Chemical Romance because I can't think of any other acronym that could be. I didn't listen to My Chemical Romance, but the songs that I heard on the radio were good. Next assumption, I don't know why, like literally no clue, but I think you don't like lettuce. I am a little bit picky when it comes to lettuce. I really like dark leaves, so I like spinach better than I like lettuce, and I like romaine better than I like iceberg. I actually don't really like iceberg, so I guess it's true that I don't really, but I mean, I would eat iceberg in a sandwich. True and false, a little bit of both. There are a lot of people who are guessing that I am an introvert, and that is true. I absolutely am. I think it's hard when you're on the internet. People assume that you're very extroverted. Easy to forget that I'm just sitting alone in my room all the time filming. But I think that's like peak introvert, to just be sitting in my room by myself talking to, I was gonna say imaginary people, but you're not imaginary, but when I'm filming, you're imaginary, you know what I mean? Like you're not there yet when I'm filming. So there's really nobody else there. So yeah, I mean, I'm very much an introvert. Did I get hair dye on the phone? I did, I got a little hair dye on the phone. Your YouTube personality is your real personality. I would say that's true. The only thing I can think of that's different about real life versus YouTube is I always film content when I'm happy, like when I'm in a good mood. I try to be very upfront with everybody. I talk about it a lot here on this channel and also like on Twitter and stuff like that. I do deal with depression and also anxiety, which is a lethal combo. So I'm not always happy, and I think I'm pretty honest about that, but I still think there are a lot of people who don't see that side of me and think that like, oh, it landed in the trash. How incredible is that? What are the odds? It's always a curated life that you see online. No matter what, it's always a little bit curated, you know, and as much as I would love to be like, oh, I'm gonna film even when I'm unhappy, but then it's like almost like not really fair to the polishes that I'm reviewing, because if I'm not enthusiastic, then people would be like, oh, you must not really like them, but that wouldn't be why, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a tricky situation, which is why I like having the vlog channel, because I like being able to show you what's going on in my life outside of being excited about nail polish, because I mean, obviously other stuff goes on. I'm not always happy, and I definitely cry a lot. I cry at every small thing. I definitely have a lot of panic attacks, and I definitely have like a lot of moments. This is actually, I think this is enough hair dye to cover my hair. I guess I thought I had more hair. This splat bottle is bigger than usual, right? I think this is bigger than it normally is. I feel like it's usually like this big. Next assumption, you're tall. Everybody always assumes that I'm really short on the internet. I don't know why. And I'm honored that you think I'm tall. I am above average height for a woman. I am 5'7", which I feel like I remember that being like 170 centimeters or something. But yeah, I'm slightly above average. Some of these questions I really want to answer, but I feel like I don't want to get demonetized. But maybe I should do a Q&A on my Twitch live stream. That would actually be very daunting. Maybe not. Your empathy and anxiety comes from a rough past. I would say that's partly true. I think it's partially just genetic and partially, you know, experiences that I've been through. And again, I think that just ties back to I am an honest person and I'm myself on the internet, but at the same time, you guys don't necessarily see the things that I have been through, and it's not necessarily like a bad thing to not know that, and I'm never gonna go through and, you know, talk about trauma and stuff that I've experienced. I think one of the things that we as a society struggle with is I think we always think that we are the person that has gone through something and nobody else has. I mean, you definitely know that other people have, but you don't think that everybody has. I feel like my mindset on it is just assume that every single person you meet, every person you pass on the street, the person who's customer service assisting you, the parent of your spouse, you know, every single person has been through trauma. And I think that's the best way to operate. Maybe there's a rare, teeny tiny possibility that they haven't, but I think it's best to operate under the belief that every single person has been through something, whether it be something minor or something major. And I think that goes a long way with teaching people to be a little bit more empathetic, because, you know, I think it's so easy sometimes to see these curated personalities, especially online, person and think like it's so unfair that I have gone through XYZ and they haven't, and they get to go like be happy and live a normal life. That's not true. Again, it's just all curated, you know? That might be a little too deep. I don't want to upset anybody, but I mean, that's just the way that I like to think, just because I think we're all very complex, deep creatures and we've all been through stuff, you know? You are super responsible and put too much pressure on yourself. I think that's true. Not much needs to be said about that. I just agree with it. You believe in horoscopes. I would like to say it's true, but it's not. I feel like I'm very much intrigued by stuff and I like to, you know, talk about astrology and whatnot, but I don't think I personally believe that it's true. I think it's very general and it's very easy for a person to kind of fit into the mold because of how general it is. But interestingly enough, one of the tenets of being a Cancer, which I am, is being like very nurturing and motherly. And I don't think that I fit into that. But I do think that I fit into being very moody and sensitive. I like the symbol, I like the crab, like I think it's all pretty fun. I'm also like a big fan of crystals. I would like to believe that those have power as well, but I think at the heart of it, I don't truly believe it. But I do strongly believe in the power of placebo, and I think that convincing yourself that something is real is a very powerful way to manifest it. So, you know, I try, but I feel like it's almost a little too meta for me right now that I know that I'm trying to make it a placebo. Does that make sense? Next assumption, you have naturally curly hair. I do. It's very processed now, so it doesn't really curl anymore. The roots are curly, but that's pretty much it. Next assumption, you don't care much about what's currently trendy. I think that's very true. I think that my personal sense of style is very stuck in the early 2000s, and I think maybe even the early 2010s, which I think is going to come back in style very soon anyway, so I'm not really planning on changing that. But it is fun. I don't think that I'm like above trends or anything like that. I think it's very fun to be interested in trends. I just like my own style a lot, so I'm just sticking with it. But I follow a lot of like fashion people and people who kind of participate in different trends, and I think it's fun. I do think it's pretty fun to like keep an eye on, but I'm not personally in on it. Although I am liking a little bit of the 90s stuff coming back now, so maybe I'll incorporate a little bit more of that into my style. But once it stops being trendy, I'll probably still keep doing it. Next assumption, you've never traveled outside of the country. I have been outside of the country to US territories. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been across the country, and that was only like fairly recently, like in the last 10 years or so, that I went to California because I'm on the East Coast. That's pretty much it. I assume you love coffee. I do. I love the taste of coffee. I absolutely love it. I don't drink much caffeine. I do drink decaf coffee. Can't have any more really caffeine than what's in that. Oh shoot. Why did I do that? Yeah, I don't drink caffeinated coffee. I'll occasionally have like a half calf if I'm incredibly tired, but I stopped drinking caffeine a while ago because I have a hard time falling asleep. Now I have a hard time waking up, so it's like, that's the worst thing I think about like insomnia. I keep on digressing. I think the worst thing, what I am currently experiencing, which is that it takes me a long time to fall asleep at night, but in the morning I just cannot get up. I think it's so hard because it kind of feels like you almost need something to wake you up in the morning, like coffee. But you know, if you drink it, then you're not going to be able to fall asleep at night. But then you can't fall asleep at night anyway, so what do you do? Somebody just wrote gray. I think that they misread the question and thought that I was asking people to guess what my next hair color is going to be, which is a good guess, but no, it's going to be green. But it's another GR, so you were close. My camera apparently turned off and I was just so involved in whatever question I was answering that I did not notice. I don't know where we are. I don't know. Well, I know I'm in New Jersey. That's not a funny joke. Okay. You're a night person. I don't think that's necessarily true. I try to wake up early and start my day very early. I think I feel the best on the days when I like wake up around 6. Most days I would say I probably wake up at like 7, but I like the days better when I wake up at 6 and then like go do my workout first thing in the morning. I feel like that kind of gets a good start to my day. And in order for me to wake up that early, I have to go to sleep earlier. What happened in 2020 absolutely changed me, and it changed the way that like my body functions. Or maybe that's also because 2 years have passed by and now I'm getting older, and this is just what it feels like being older, because I feel like I'm very tired a lot and unmotivated a lot, and I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like it's definitely contributing. I'm sure the whole world to an extent feels this way, but I feel like it's definitely contributed to like a little bit less of a like mentally healthy outlook on life. So I try really hard to combat that. That's kind of a sad answer. So maybe we'll end with one more. Something happier. Okay, this assumption is you like winter more than summer. I don't think that's true. I think I like summer better. I like fall the best, but I do like summer a lot. I like being warm, and I think that was another thing that changed in 2020. I think I used to enjoy a little bit more like the cold weather, and ever since all that happened, now I'm like, I just want to be warm all the time. Okay, so we ended up doing the whole amount of hair with just the splat. Let's see how long I have to keep this in for. Oh my gosh, it's written on the inside. Oh, the box. Okay, 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna rinse it off, and then I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. And maybe if there's any more fun questions that pop up, I'll answer them. Hello everyone, it's actually been a couple of days. It's super dark and cloudy out. I feel like this is probably not the best place to show you my hair, but I wanted to give you an update. So it actually, I feel like it looks bluer on camera than it is in real life, but it's more of a teal color. I don't know why on this camera and on my phone it looks still very blue, but on my camera that I film with, it's looking a little bit more green. So my mean channel should have a little bit more of an accurate look of what it's gonna look like. But yeah, so here's what ended up happening. After I dyed my hair on camera, I washed it, but I didn't straighten it or anything. I just went to sleep, and when I woke up, my whole face was green. It's still actually pretty green, but I thought that that might be a sign, and also just my hand was turning green every time I touched it. But I figured that was kind of a sign that I did not wash it thoroughly enough. So I ended up hopping back in the shower the next morning and I scrubbed it with shampoo, and it was greener before that, but now it's a little bit more on the teal side. I feel like there are some pieces that look more green. I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, that is the color that we're working with. I will say, even though I did scrub it in the shower with shampoo and my little scrubber thingy, I am still, every time I touch my hair, if I touch it too much, I like notice over the course of the day my fingers on this hand are turning green. My neck is still pretty stained. I tried to get it off with toner, but it's still pretty stained. But yeah, so that is the hair. I actually feel like I didn't answer a lot of the assumptions, so I want to like quick fire go through a couple of them. This assumption says you're into metal or hardcore music. That is not accurate. I feel like I tend to prefer more like sad, slow kind of music. In the last couple of years, I feel like my music taste has changed significantly, and now I find myself listening to a lot of like sad indie music. Feels the best to me, but I also really enjoy EDM. You're heavily into psychic type Pokemon. This one I thought was so interesting. It's actually not true at all. Funny enough, I think Psychic is one of the types that I have on my team least often. I know that they're very, very strong in terms of special attack, but I would say my top 3 Pokemon types would be Ground, Dark, and Poison. I feel like I always try to have, well, I don't know, maybe not even always Ground, but I always try to have a Poison type and a Dark type on my team. I feel like those are like my top 2, but in terms of enjoyment of playing with them, I always love having a Dark type, a Ground type, and a Poison type. So those are my top 3. I feel like they're all kind of like secondary typings, but I still very much enjoy them. This assumption is you love Pokemon. I think that's a fair assumption. I think that's fair to say. There's another one. You really like Pokemon. Yeah. You're secretly an artist. You draw in your sketchbook and you paint on canvases. I wish that were true. I feel like I keep on trying to get into art and I try to practice it, and I go through these sort of habits where I'll get into it for a while and then be drawing and practicing every day and be really into it, and then I kind of just let it slip by and I kind of have to start over again. I definitely enjoy painting. I don't think that I'm particularly good at it. I'd say I do more abstract stuff. The painting up here, I don't know if that painting, I painted that I also painted another painting that's over here in our apartment. I enjoy doing paintings like that, like just like random abstract paintings I think are really fun, but I don't do it very often. This one was really interesting. I wanted to answer this one before I end the video. The assumption is that you don't like that people have the right to make assumptions about you. So I would say this is a difficult one. I don't know that it's specifically a yes or no. I think when you put yourself out on the internet, you're kind of giving people the ability to assume things about you. And I think that you're also kind of acknowledging that there is going to be things that people assume about you that may or may not be correct. And I do try my best to kind of counteract that by stating my opinion on things, but I know there's always going to be things that people assume. And I think that's allowed. I don't love when people speculate things about me that I personally feel are a little bit harmful or insensitive. I feel like it happens a lot. I think I've mentioned it during the assumptions. I'm not actually sure. I use Twitter a lot specifically to kind of complain, and I feel like every time that I mention like I'm going through something or I'm like feeling like I'm having a tough time, I always get messages and comments of people being like, oh, did your boyfriend dump you? And like those kind of assumptions, I'm just like, that's not the epitome of life. That's not all that life is about. Sometimes I can have a hard time and still have a very supportive partner, you know what I mean? Or sometimes when I'm on my period, or you know, when I'm just feeling a little bloated, I'll get comments of people on YouTube who are like, oh my gosh, like you look a little thicker today, are you pregnant? And those kind of assumptions I also really don't like, especially because I've made it very clear that that is not my personal path. So in that case, I don't love those types of assumptions. And I think there are very rare occasions, it doesn't happen often, but there are some times where people take words that I say and they kind of assign a very malicious intent to them. One example, I know a video that I had that went viral years ago. I was not expecting that many people ever to have watched it, and I didn't really think very specifically about what I was saying in the video, and it was about applying glitter nail polish to look full coverage. What I meant to say in the video is normally people apply polish like this, but what I said instead was normal people apply polish like this. And I have to say, I've gotten so many comments over the years of people who said that it was, you know, insensitive and cruel of me to say normal people instead of normally people, you know, insinuating that people who don't apply nail polish that way aren't normal. And that is not what I meant at all. I just forgot to say normally, and it didn't occur to me at the time because I wasn't even really creating YouTube videos that often at the time. So like those kind of assumptions I think are a little hurtful, but again, I know that that's something like when you put yourself out on the internet, that's just what happens. Like people are going to make assumptions, and all you can do is just try your best to counteract them and be a good person and show people that. So yeah, I mean, if I ever speak incorrectly, I think I would say 100% of the time, but I mean, I can't say for sure, but I would assume that 100% of the time I don't have any malicious intent behind it. I try my best to be a good person. So in those assumptions, I think it's difficult. But other times when people make assumptions, I mean, for the most part, if there's ever something you assume about me, or you have a question, or you feel like you might be interpreting something wrong, or you know, you have an assumption about me, you can always ask me. I don't mind that. There are certain boundaries, I think, like there are certain things that are just my private life that I don't feel are necessary to discuss on the internet. But for the most part, I feel like it's totally fine to have assumptions and, you know, ask for clarification rather than just assume and run with that. I think it's okay to ask for clarification. But anyway, I think those are all the questions that I wanted to answer. I feel like you really still can't see the hair too great, but hopefully me kind of sitting here and procrastinating, doing other things by answering more assumptions has helped you see the color a little bit better. But I would love to know your thoughts. I think I do want to take a break from bleaching for a little while, so I don't know what color to do next. Maybe I'll just keep on trying like every time I dye it to make it a little bit more green and like see when it fades if I can make it more green. I don't know, maybe we'll do something totally different. I noticed I have a lot of gray hairs. Maybe I need to like do a whole head color soon. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining me for another vlog. I've got other fun vlogs coming soon, maybe some series vlogs. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff coming, so just stick around. Subscribe if you haven't, if you want to subscribe. And I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye.